Oh, it's only live now, Paul, so hopefully we will. Hey. I can't see anybody on there yet, though, but then I can't see. I don't want to hide chat.
Are we going? Is he going live on EGH or Journey? I can't remember
now. EGH. No, Journey. I think. Yeah, I think he's got the same platform, mate.
Right, that's all right.
Hello, everybody. I don't know who's out there. If you can just pop it in the chat that you can see us, hear us.
I'll find us. I'll find us.
This is going to be a new adventure tonight. God knows how it's going to work, but hey-ho.
Nah, this is no different than meeting up in the pub, is it? Just three blokes having a chat.
Yeah.
people joining it.
Right?
You're muted, Russ.
Good. We are live. It said the stream was live, but I don't think we've got any.
That muted before you come back, or did you do it before you went?
Oh, I didn't do anything. Didn't press anything.
I see it pop up before you come back.
It did, yeah. It came up, yeah. It did come up.
I don't need all that starting off again. It's bad enough I've had to spend like.
It's paranormal show, mate. It's paranormal show. You're going to get something, can you?
All right, let's just check if everything is live.
Anybody out there?
Yeah, it's live. It's live on the Journey page. It's live on Facebook on both. So hopefully people will start to see it. Let it build its momentum.
Yeah, of course.
Hopefully. And then, let's start the show, shall we? Let's start it.
Go for it, mate.
So that's off. I know this title's queued and go.
As a duly designated representative of the city, I order you to cease any and all supernatural activity and return forthwith to your place of origin or to the nearest convenient parallel dimension.
Whoa. Just hold up 1 minute there. It's not who you're going to call, but it's who you're going to listen to. And if you ain't afraid of no ghost, stay tuned for the EGH Paranormal Talk Show.
Good evening, guys, and welcome to the Paranormal Talk Show, live and exclusive on Pulse Talk Radio. Everything won't let me work there. There is definitely some gremlins from last week in that computer that went funny last week. It is definitely staying within that computer. Telling you. That's weird. Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's a bit of a different show this week. Welcome to the return of the EGH Paranormal Talk Show. Woo-hoo. It's not just me this week in Paranormal Paul. I've got another co-host with me. Mr. Simon is back.
Hey, it's been a long time.
I should have a clapping thing, but I don't know if I've got it anymore. No, I haven't got it anymore. I had a clapping thing on the thing that used to clap. Apparently, I'm getting messages to say that people can't comment. Heads up, mate. I can't comment on the show on Facebook. Not sure if it's me or I have got one that is popping up. So, guys, could you just pop some? If you can comment, please, in the chat, whatever you're watching on.
It's a paranormal show. You're going to get something.
If you can comment, please. Oh, now we've got feedback because I'm now watching that.
That's you.
I can comment, so we should be all right. Pop your comments in, guys, and let us know you're there, please, if you can, because we have had a message. It is Lee, but you can watch if you want to. You can watch on our YouTube channel. You can watch on our Facebook, and you can also watch on the Journey Facebook as well. So whatever you are coming through, you can let us know. Heidi is joining us all the way. Thank you ever so much. So we are back We are back from outer space. How's everyone's week's been? I'm going to start off as normal, like we do. I'll go to you first, Paul. How's your week been?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I've twinged me back, Russ. I've done it. All that time doing well. I've twinged me back. It's not terrible. It's not too bad. It gave me a lot of grief yesterday, but it's a bit better today. So, but yeah, I like to start on a negative, as you know. But other than that, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm doing well.
Oh, that's good. But I say you're back. Look after your back. You have trouble with your back anyway, didn't you?
Arthritis in the spine, mate.
So, but hopefully, it gets itself better. Yes. Natalie Hill is joining us as well. Hello, Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
And Simon, how's your week been?
Yeah, pretty good. Could always be better, but could always be worse. That's the way I look at it.
It's life, isn't it? It's life.
It is. But 1 minute you're down, then you're up. You know, I think sometimes you have to be knocked down to get up.
Of course you do.
Exactly. Paul, nice to see you. Hello there,
Hi,
Paul. How you doing? I popped onto your channel the other night. So I said hello, but I don't think the lady knew who I was because I didn't go through the Essex Ghost Hunters page. I just did it as Russell. So
it's no good. No, it's no good.
Works on here, but the journey page for me. Well, there you go. See, you're a journey fan. You're a journey fan. So, but I tell you what, right? We haven't really got anything that we pre-programmed to talk about this week, per se, because I thought it's the first show back. Let's not get too caught up in, sort of digging deep and things like that. Let's work on it. Let's get ourselves back, feel the moment, because anything you plan always can go tits up, can't it? So I thought, you know what? Let's not do that. But Lee sent me a video the other day, okay? And it was about astral projection, okay? And I'm going to play the video. Hopefully it plays and you will be able to hear it, all right? And see what you think of this because, thank you. Well, I tell her you did enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. It was a good show. So I'm going to see if we can play it and then we'll pick this apart just for a minute, all right? Because I found it quite a strange video, if I can find it. Oh, come on. Because he messaged me, it went to the top. Right. Are you ready? Let's see if this works.
How to leave your body through astral projection, but be sure you know the way back. Astral projection is not just dreaming. It's slipping the cord that ties your soul to your flesh. It's freedom, yes, but it's also exposure. Because once you leave your body, others can find it. And not everything that finds you is kind. To begin, you must prepare for 3 nights. No alcohol, no distractions, no mirrors uncovered. Let your body grow quiet and your mind sharpen. On the 4th night, just before sleep, lie flat on your back. Place a small silver object on your chest, a coin, a ring, something that reflects. Light a candle far from you and fix your gaze on the ceiling until your vision begins to blur. Slow your breathing. Focus not on your limbs, but on the space around them. Feel where your fingers end and where the air begins. Then say, in your mind only, I unhook the anchor. I drift with intent. I return by will alone. You may feel vibrations, a hum inside your bones. The feeling of floating, not upward, but outward. If you see your body lying below you, do not panic. Do not approach it. Look around you. The astral realm mirrors our world, but stranger, warmer, thinner, and sometimes watched. Time doesn't flow the same there. Stay too long, and you may return to find hours have passed, or none at all. And if you hear whispers calling you back in voices you don't recognize, don't answer. They are not guides. They are hungry. To return, speak your name 3 times, out loud if you can, in your mind if you can't. Visualize the silver object, your breath, your weight. Feel gravity pull you downward. If it resists, you've stayed too long. And if you ever wake up and your reflection doesn't blink when you do, you brought something back with you. To learn more about ancient truths and mysterious strategies.
Now, I know, hello everybody. I've got a load of people. James and everything. So Lee sent us that. Lee sent us this. Sent me this through the other day. Now, before we sort of pick apart that video, a simple question to the chat and you guys. First of all, do you believe in astral projection?
Yes.
Yes.
So we all concur that we think it. We know. We believe it exists and things like that. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, maybe watching the show for the first time, astral projection, it is where they talk where your soul, possibly your spirit, however you want to see it, you can send to different parts of the world, different parts of the universe, different realms. As long as you're tethered, they believe that you'll be okay. But that video there, I'd never heard of some of them things before in all my days. No.
Sounds terrifying.
It does sound terrifying. It does. Yeah, that would scare you. That would. It
would definitely. It almost feels like the video is there to put the fear of God up you.
Yeah.
Now, I can't think of the gentleman's name. What was the gentleman's name? Berry, wasn't it? Something Berry. We had on the show years ago.
Yes.
Harold Berry, something.
Yeah. The American guy.
Yeah. And there's a really good book out there. I'll try and find it in a minute, and I can show you the book. And go and follow that if you want to try astral projection, because he used it for his own benefit all over the sort of the globe. He went and met people that he hadn't seen for a while, and met up within astral projection. But I want to sort of pick apart that video. We'll come on to this one, Paul, in a minute. All right. What about out of body experiences? Because sort of the same thing, I think, but slightly different. Let's pick about this video. Okay. Did you find anything that you felt untoward, you two?
What do you mean?
I think what he's saying about being anchored and getting back, I agree with that part of it. You do have to be sort of knowing what you're doing to a certain extent, because I use it for healing a lot. So I will go out and visit a person I'm healing. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I do agree.
So, but I've never thought of not getting back, to be quite honest.
Maybe that's why you always come back, because you've got that undenying confidence you'll always get back.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But, and I feel it's like when you're in a meditation as well. You go somewhere in meditation, don't you? You don't. I believe you come out yourself in meditation, not just. Yeah. So
I've never tried astral projection. I don't think I've ever accomplished it. Knowing or having control over where I go and what I see, who I see, and things like that. I've definitely feel like I've been places when meditating, but from what I understand of astral projection, I've not done that. I don't know if it is the same or not. To be honest, I've never tried astral projection. Certainly not to the degree that he was explaining. But it just made me think of that film Insidious, listening to that.
Yeah, I didn't get the blinking bit at the end. I'll tell you the honest truth. I did, blink for it. If you blink in the mirror and you don't blink back, you brought something home with you. Well, hang on a minute. All three of us have been on events. We've got more chance of bringing stuff back than astral projection there. But how many times I blinked? Well, to be fair, how many times I've looked in the mirror, do I actually pay attention if I blink or not, and if I blink back? Now I'll be trying that before I go to bed tonight, and if I don't blink back, then I'll be shitting myself. But
That's a bit of a trick question, isn't it? Because how are you going to see if you're blinking back? Your eyes are blinking, so their eyes are going to be shut as your eyes shut.
See,
I say their eyes. I mean your reflections eyes.
Yeah. So you've got to video it.
Yeah.
So you think the easiest way to do it.
So is he saying you could be stuck in the mirror then, looking at yourself with somebody else inside you?
Potentially, I'm assuming.
I don't think you're stuck in the mirror. I think whatever you brought back, you're seeing that through the reflection of the mirror.
But it's with you, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then so let's pick apart I write, as I was listening, I was writing things down because, I use astral projection, and here's the book here. It's going to be blue, so it's going to try and pick up A Travel Far, Beginner's Guide to Outer Body with Darrell E. Berry Jr., right? That's a really good book. Okay, a really good book to go, and if you want to start it, find out about it. Now, first time I really used astral projection was when in Wales, when me and Jay had an experience in, it's only me and Jay. We went out at the back of the cottage. We did a bit of filming, and something was untoward. Now, Tina helped me and Jay go back to that, walk the pathway in astral projection to see what we could see, which wasn't there with our own eyes. Hence, when I had that experience with extraterrestrials, the most, mind-blowing feeling that I'd ever had before in my life. That was my first start of astral projection and knowing where we could go with it. So first comment, the first, what do you call it? The first step that you've got to do is prepare yourself for 3 days.
No.
All right, I get the no alcohol bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get the no alcohol bit. I can understand why that is, right? But to prepare yourself for 3 days, maybe if you're doing it for the very first time ever, and you can set yourself, but then no.
I didn't, when I first done it, I did not prepare for 3 days. I did it out of a case of needing to do it for somebody and getting to somebody that I couldn't get to.
Yeah, and I think
Physically.
that's what you...
Physically. So I didn't have 3 days to do that.
Yeah. And as I say, I think one of the most strongest things, what do you call it, a rule or law, whatever you want to say it's called, is to tether yourself to something.
Yes.
Physically tether yourself to an object in your, for if you're sitting in your chair, you see something, tether it off to the ankle of your chair or your foot of your chair or your door handle that you can physically see, which was in your eyesight.
I can't remember when you were doing that in Wales, what Tina tethered you to, but she tethered you to something, didn't she?
Yeah, I think she tethered
I can't
her.
remember what it was, though.
I
Sandra,
think
you're in the chat. Do you remember?
I think she tethered me, Sandra, and Jay to her.
Maybe.
At that point, because it was our first time and she could probably get us back. But to be fair, I always, when I do my astral projection, I always make sure I lay down. So I normally do it on my bed. So I always tether myself off to the end of the bedpost. So I know I'm where I am.
Are you talking like physically tethering yourself?
No.
Or just sort of, visualizing?
Yeah. So, like you do your cloak of protection. Yeah. And you visualize that cloak of protection. So I always visualize myself with an extension lead that can pull out with no sort of limit.
Right.
So I'm always I'm plugged in, so to speak, and then I can go.
Yeah, and I use like it's them string measuring things that are in a holder, not they're string, and you can go as far as you want with them. Yeah, so that's what I use.
Yeah, so just like if you're gonna attempt it, just make sure your intentions are tethered to you. Yeah, I'm assuming you can tether it to something within you. Do you know what I mean? For all intents and purposes, I'm assuming you could tether it to yourself to your wrist, so you can come back to wherever you need to be. But yeah, you can this as in Tina used a ribbon and tethered us all to her.
Yeah.
You can do absolutely anything with astral projection. Now, I know there'll be a split opinion within the chat of what you actually send. Do you send spirit, as in your spirit, or do you send potentially your soul? If it's different, if you see it different, if you don't. It's another question I'll ask to you guys.
Wouldn't it be like your consciousness as well?
Yeah. But that's why I think, me personally, I would always I always feel I send my spirit.
Yeah, because it's not my soul, it's my spirit. Yeah.
Because I'm not, as much as, when I'm astral projecting, I have no sense of surround of where I am. It's not like a meditation where you can snap back. It's not, to me, like, with a meditation, I would almost say, for me, when I astral project, I'm either like in a dreamlike state, where I've literally maybe have gone asleep, and that's that my body just shuts down. I wouldn't have any recollection. I don't feel the bed. I don't feel, the walls. I don't feel I don't hear anything, because obviously as you say, your consciousness is not within your body. It is literally where you need it to go.
Right.
And there is no limit to where you can physically send your, astral projection. There is no difference. We could go down a rabbit hole here. We've got questions. Right, let me come back to that, Lee. I'm going to star that, so I know that I've got to come back. All right, to that question, and I'm going to
go back to Paul as well, mate.
Paul. Then let me star that. Look, I will come back to the questions. So I have got them starred, because we could end up going down with that question there, Lee. We could end up going down something totally different. So let's finish this conversation, but then we will go back onto that. All right. So that was first thing that I picked apart with 3 days. I'm sorry, I don't take that. All right. I said that to Lee. No mirrors to be uncovered.
Yeah. Again, it sounds like it's trying to talk you out of it.
Yeah. Now I can see.
And this is a bad experience of doing it himself, perhaps.
But
I don't know.
Not to say it's wrong here, okay? Because I know a lot of people fear mirrors. I know you shouldn't, people say you shouldn't have mirrors facing each other because something could get trapped between time. So potentially I can see where he's going with that. Do I think that has any knock-on consciousness or consequences to astral projection? No. In my view, I generally don't think mirrors need, when we did it, there was no mirrors that were we didn't cover any up.
Does it not come across more like a superstitious way of doing it?
Yeah.
You know, the reason your living room's called the living room is because they used to display the dead in the room, didn't they? And if someone passed away in a household, they'd cover all the mirrors so their spirit don't get trapped.
Yeah, it does feel very superstitious to me. Look, I'm not saying you can, by all means, if you feel comfortable going to cover all your mirrors in the house, then by all means, go and do it. If you want to take 3 days to go and do it, go and do it. So that was my second point. I think is a little bit horror filmish, Hollywood to me. Now the next one really caught me. Like, what? Place a ring or coin on your chest.
Of silver.
I don't get that.
I don't get that. I to reflect. But then to the most, you at the end of the day, you're covering all the mirrors in the house. But the best thing to cause a reflection is a mirror.
But to reflect what?
Negative coming in, potentially.
Right, so it's a form of protection.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I don't quite necessarily see, or I say we've all worked in the paranormal field for a long time. If we have to add up all what we've been worked here, we're nearly like probably, I'm 25 years. Simon's probably 100 years.
80 years.
So we're probably over 100 years combined. But have you ever heard of a ring or a coin to keep protection? In any sense, not just for astral projection, but any form of spiritual work. And I've thrown it out to anybody in the chat, guys. Have you heard of anything like that? Do you use a coin or a ring or anything? I know that, we use...
I do use those.
Yeah, but would you, I use that as my protection. And I suppose that is on my chest.
Yeah, I've got
this off. But I've never heard of using a coin or a ring, especially a ring. I know you use ring to communicate with people. I don't know what it's called, psychometry. But have I heard it in protection? No.
See, I remember when I started out, Scotty T got me one from the New Forest. It was a silver pendant with a tree of life and a pentagram on it. And I used to take it to every ghost hunt. That was my protection. But I found very little actually happened to me personally when when you invite spirit in or something like that. So I blamed it on my protection. So when I thought I'm not going to take it this time. Religiously, I wouldn't do any spirit work without it. So when I took it off, and I can't remember where I was the first time I took it off with you guys, but things started to happen. So I left it off because I wanted more interaction with spirit. I wanted it to happen more with me rather than watch it happen to everyone else as well. And to be fair, I haven't wore it since.
I do think you can overprotect.
Yeah, yes.
I generally do think you can overprotect. I do think that's a thing. I do think overprotection. Heidi says no, nothing. So she hasn't heard of a coin or anything like that regarding to sort of protection. And say not too many people, by the sound of it, in the chat have heard that either. I can get it. Maybe if, say if it's your great nan's ring that you keep around, and people put them on their chains.
They do put them on their chains. Yeah, they do.
I get that. But to literally think to place it, I've never heard anything like it. No. I've never heard that in any form, anything that we've ever done.
No. The only
Really?
thing in history I've ever heard with like silver coins and that was when they used to, again, we used to put it on the dead to pay the boatman, wasn't it? And things
Yeah.
like that. But
And crossed my palm with silver, wasn't it, as well?
yeah,
Uh,
fortune.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
With a bullet to kill the werewolf, isn't it?
yeah, many things like that.
Yeah, it is. But yeah,
So
no.
that one really didn't, I didn't feel that was normal in that sort of sense. Whispers to call you back that you don't know the voices to.
I mean, again, it sounds terrifying. It
Does.
kind of puts you off wanting to do it.
Yeah, it would. Actually, yeah, it would.
But I do get it. I do, that one doesn't seem so far-fetched than putting a coin on you, if someone's calling your name. But then again,
I think there's more chance of that happening than anything else he mentioned, to be fair.
Yeah. But could I sit here and say to you 100%, hand on my heart, that I could tell you the voices of my guides, each individual one of them? If I'm far away and something's going, I'm going to go, oh, yeah, hold on a minute. That definitely ain't John. That definitely ain't Walter. That ain't Bill. That ain't Sid. That ain't Claire. That ain't Jessica. That ain't this. Nah, ain't no one. You're never going to do it, are you? You're never going to know. You're nowhere near your body for a start. Yeah. That just didn't. I get it. I do get it. As Paul said, it just sounds horrific. But I'm assuming you are,
I suppose what he might be doing is putting it out there as a first-time experience and saying to people, you've got to be careful what you're doing when you're doing this. But he hasn't put it like that, has he? I do get what he's trying to get over, that what you could do is, if you don't tether yourself to something, if you don't do this,
But maybe it's part of his routine that he found worked really well for him, and he swears by it, and he's picked up bits and pieces on his travels. And
there's nothing wrong with that.
When you go into meditation, I think it's the same. Everyone kind of does it different.
Yeah. When I'm walking around places talking to people, I don't know who I'm talking to, but
that's it. I just don't know how you would I can't say the word.
Differentiate.
That's the word. Between something bad calling you back or one of your guides calling you back. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. If it's someone saying, Russ, come back, or something going, Russ, come back, I want to kill you, then
I bet you come back to that one.
Going back. I totally understand it. But I just don't know how you would, can't say the word, but differentiate from that, unless it's fully at that moment in time. I just don't know how you would do that. So that one there, I put a question mark by it, because I suppose that's how you generally feel, isn't it, in that situation? Going with your gut. If you feel like you're going back to a voice that you don't like, don't go back to it. But if you feel comfortable to go back to it, not to say that when I've ever astral projected that I've ever come back to a voice anyway.
No.
I've always spoken to the person, or said energy, or said being directly, like face to face or spirit to spirit, whatever you want to call it. But have I ever come back to whispers? No. So that one, I did question mark rather than putting a great big X next to it. The mirrors and the coins got two great big X's next to it, because I thought, what a load of old tosh. But the whispers got a question mark, just because I thought it was. And the last one. Now, this one I don't quite know how you would do it. I don't. Call your name 3 times to get back.
Was it either out loud or in your head?
Out loud if you can, in your head if you can't.
Well, if I'm saying out loud, I've broken all my concentration and all my being. I'm back.
Yeah, but is he saying your body or you as an astral projection?
Couldn't tell you.
Who is he?
You can't be saying your body because you're not with your body. You've got no control over it.
Who is this guy?
Hold on. I don't.
But stranger, warmer, thinner, and sometimes watched. Time doesn't flow the same there. Stay too long, and you may return to find hours have passed, or none at all. And if you hear whispers calling you back in voices you don't recognize, don't answer. They are not guides. They are hungry. To return, speak your name 3 times, out loud if you can, in your mind if you can't. Visualize the silver object.
So it says out loud if you can.
Yeah.
Visualize the silver on your chest. If you can't.
Well, I would just say that's visualize your tether. It's not. I wouldn't say it's.
It sounds it's just covering all bases there. I think.
Yeah.
You know, if you stay too long, hours could have passed or none at all.
Exactly.
Well, which is it?
Yeah.
Well,
So-
because
Yeah.
time has no, there is no such thing as time over there. I get what he's saying there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I totally get that. But it doesn't matter if what time is over there, but over here, there's always going to be time. So when I do a meditation, when I do my meditation within class, and I say to people, how long have you been down there for? They go, I'll say about 5 minutes. Well, I say, no, you've been down for 20 minutes, right?
yeah, I remember that when I used to do it.
You don't do time. There's no such thing as time over there, but there is time here. So what he's saying is quite correct. If you go and have a conversation with somebody on the moon, for example, and you think you've only been there for 2 minutes, but you've had a really good conversation, it could be over an hour on the Earth plane time, so to speak, because we've invented that.
But does that matter?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That's what he said. Time. He puts that as time could be, stay too long, and it could be hours. Well, what? No shit, Sherlock. Or it could be none at all. Well, no. So yeah, Paul is right in what he's saying. He's sort of gone. He's edged his bets there massively.
Yeah.
Massively edged his bets there, which is quite funny. But calling your name aloud 3 times, right? So I've just sat there and done this lovely astral projection, right? I'm making my way back, right? I'm doing it then. And all of a sudden I go, Russ! Well, I'm awake then, I'm back. You know what I mean? It has shocked me out of everything I possibly can. I've got to be back to call out.
Yeah.
So it seems pointless. That makes sense.
Yeah. If you've got to call out, you're back.
Yeah, so yeah,
you're back.
Then you've got to go and unplug all your mirrors to blink in it to check if you're alive. So,
There's nobody with you. Yeah.
I don't get it, if that makes sense.
No, I don't get it.
It seems too far-fetched, for astral projection, and that is where I thought, get us on a good talking point, and that's what I thought would get us going, because it has led down to questions that we'd thought. So I'll ask you the question before we move on to our next session. That video, how did you take that video?
How did I take it?
I'm sorry, go first.
If I was looking to do astral projection for the first time, I probably wouldn't do it. No, I probably wouldn't, because I'd probably think, oh God, what am I going to bring back with me? But knowing what I know, it doesn't bother me. But if I was a novice, then yeah,
You'd be petrified and probably have a
Yeah.
bad journey.
yeah, I wouldn't go. Simple as. Because I
Yeah.
think, oh, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back. So I'd probably go to somebody that, like Tina, that would have the ribbon. So that would force me not to do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a good practice to probably have someone around near you when doing it. Not to say all the time. If you know,
At least when you're starting up.
Yeah.
I would say that's, it's no different to sort of, you would never do trance on your own. And really, you should never do, a spirit board on your own. I know people do, but that's not good practice. It is one of them things, for all intents and purposes. Do I think you could get lost in astral projection? Yes, I do think you could get lost, but I just think it will take time for you to get back.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
See, to me, I thought that it come across to me like the person making the video hasn't actually astro projected. It's taking knowledge from other people that have done it, and they've all put their inputs, and he's sort of put it all together that's covered all bases.
Yeah.
And that's how it come across to me. But I totally get what you're saying. It sounds terrifying, and if yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not that convinced with that one, I'm afraid.
No.
So I'll put it out to everybody in the chat. If there's anybody in the chat, would you astral project or wouldn't you astral project? Is it something that you would do? Listen to that video. I think I'm with Simon and Paul. If you listen to that video, it sounds like you're going to hell and back. But really, the reason
did we ever do it in class, Russ? Because the only thing that sort of jogged my memory is when you said, "Oh, I popped up to the moon to have a conversation with someone."
that
I remember coming back. I thought was a meditation. I know sometimes we tried different things and went deep. And I come back and I was convinced. I was mentally on the moon. I don't know if you remember when I come back. I couldn't believe it because I actually felt the dust, and I said it felt like I put my hand in a bag of cement dust. It was that kind of.
Actually, I
do you remember
remember
that?
Yeah, I do remember
that.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was like cement dust going through my fingers, and I physically felt it. But I can't remember if that was just meditation or we pushed it further onto astral. I can't remember. I'll have to have a look at my book. I'll write it down, don't I?
To be fair, I think there's a very fine line between sort of how you go about doing it. I've got questions coming in left, right, and centre. So,
Crack on.
No. I have to sort of go to these questions first, then go back to the other questions. So, yes, but you also, if you can visualize something, you can send your aura there as well, which is, to be fair, is probably far more dangerous than astral projection, because you've got to visualize your aura opening up. So I teach if you're doing mediumship or working with spirit, try and keep your aura at arm's length for a bubble around you. If you put your arms around you either way, that's where you keep your aura. That's where you stretch your aura to let things communicate with you. Now, if you've got to stretch your aura to the moon, how far have you got to stretch that, and what that encompasses to get to the moon and back is a lot. So there is a fine line. There's a massive fine line between what is astral projection and what is your aura stretching and what is an out of body, which I think they're probably all combined in a way of how it works. Sitting in the power is potentially, but that is really clearing your mind of everything and not listening to anything and knowing anything sitting in the power. It is just that feeling the power of the energy around you rather than sensing. Not to say you can't, because you can definitely sit in the power sitting on the moon. That's a thing. So yeah, it could have possibly been sitting in the power.
Yeah, I remember flying there, flying back, mate. I do.
Yeah.
I still remember it now.
Not by listening to that video as a novice. No, Heidi wouldn't do it. Right. I'm going to work. No, I'll go do this one first. Can you die from astral projection? Couldn't tell you, Lee. Really couldn't.
Could you get lost in that? Right. That's a good question. I'm not going to put the question out there because I don't know. It's dementia and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you stuck?
What? We're going down rabbit holes here, so this could be a long night.
Yeah, so I didn't want to put it out there. But...
So what you're personally saying that potentially astral projection could be associated with dementia.
Yeah, just that sort of. Yeah, potentially.
That's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a scary thought.
I totally see where you're coming from.
Because I could be sitting. See, I could see myself sitting there and trying to get back. That's just a vision that's coming to my head. If you look at
the spiritual realm, there is a strong link between dementia and the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
And the link goes along the lines of, as a spiritual medium that does readings for other people, sometimes you can pick up on someone that is talking to you that is still living. 9 times out of 10, that person talking to you has dementia or some form of Alzheimer's or that sort of link. That is a thing within the spiritual realm, because that split is where the theory goes. When they're with you and understand who you are, they are here. But when they're not here, they are in the process of passing, getting ready to that other side. But then they will come back. Their spirit will return. So I know we've gone off kilter there. Can you die in astral projection? I would tend to say no, but I can't give you 100% answer on that. I can't give you an answer why I want to say that.
I haven't
no difference to trance. Hence why you shouldn't do it on your own, to have that person there physically to be able to call you back, to talk you back, to get you back. Your voice is the tether, so to speak. So can you die within astral projection? Well, of course you can. If you was doing astral projection at a heart attack, not because of the astral projection, then before someone makes a sarky comment, well, of course you can. Yeah, that you could have a fatal injury during your astral projection, a heart attack or some form of stroke or whatever. Yes, I can see that, but
that's a scary thought on its own, because if your physical body passes while you're astro projecting, that means there's nothing for you to come back to. So would that mean you're stuck in the astro world?
But then that would lead quite nicely
to your spirit soul question.
I've just read something here, right? I typed into the world of Google. Can you die in astral projection? And it's come up. Is astral projection the same as death? Very similar, except the two are called connecting physical body and astral body. It helps to come back in astral projection, out of body experience, but it breaks after death. after it breaks, you might well be able to go into much higher dimensions than in astral projection, as the body anchored you in the physical form. So
it doesn't sound like that's saying you can die within astral projection. It sounds like if you was to die accidentally in astral projection, it'll go to a higher self. So leading on to this next question by Paul, do we not astral travel in our sleep? Now, as Paul just said there, what happens, that's a scary thought. When you pass, if you was to pass in astral projection, are you lost? Are you stuck within the astral world? Now, within the theory of the world, in the theory of the spiritual world, do we astral projection our sleep? Yes and no. I think that would go more to the other question that you sent in, Paul, about out of body experience. I think astral projection is more of like when we leave our bodies within our sleep, I do feel that we're not tethered, we're more being out of body experiencing. And my belief is that you can't necessarily go too far from your own body. I think there is a difference. I think you are drawn to that by spirit and soul. Now, where I was going with my question, with my answer is, now there is such thing as soul collectors, which is most people do it, but most people don't know they do it. The easiest way to know if you was used as a soul collector, so to speak, within your sleep, is you've all fell asleep at 9 o'clock at night and your alarm has woke you up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You've slept all night, you've woken up and you've laid in the same position that you know you went asleep in. You wake up, you go to the toilet and you go, I'm so tired. How can I be so tired after sleeping 12 hours solid, for example? The theory goes that you're still tired because it's what the world was doing. The spiritual realm was using your soul to go and collect the souls or the spirits that were so-called lost. It happens with a lot within children. Where they get tired and physically tired, but they're getting a lot of sleep. But it does continue very much within later life. And you will know when you've done it because, as I said, you feel like you went to bed nice and early, you slept all night, but you're still tired when you wake up because you physically have been working. Your body may have rested, but the bits going on inside are far from it. They're absolutely shattered and still working. So that's where do we think we astral travel in our sleep? No, I don't believe we do because we have to tether off. Unless you tether before you go to sleep, then maybe. I don't know. But that's a long time astral projecting, which I think could be in the realms of maybe danger, potentially, because say if you fell asleep, you don't know what could happen if you come back too quickly. Something has got to get you back. I worry about a shock tactic in that one. Not to say you can't do astral projection in your sleep. That's not what I'm saying. I don't believe, my theory or my opinion on it would be no. I think we would OB in our sleep, like we OB in meditation.
Sleepwalk, do you reckon?
Sorry?
Why do some people sleepwalk, do you reckon?
Me personally, I believe sleepwalking is to do with the out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
I think the spirit is lost. it's gone too far away from the body and the body goes to collect it, then goes back. I think it's soul and spirit working.
Yeah.
Like,
have you ever slept walked?
Have I ever slept walked?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I have.
I used to do it all the time as a kid.
Yeah, I've done it. I think twice.
Mum and Dad caught me trying to get out the front door, climbing up the walls, all sorts. I used to be terrible.
Do you have a theory on that though, Paul?
Do I have a theory on why I used to?
Yeah.
No, I've never really. I don't know. I've always just put it down. I've always had a very vivid imagination, so I think just because I'm asleep, my brain still. I've always suffered with weird and wonderful dreams ever since I was a kid. Very vivid, very real. But I mean, I haven't slept well for years since I was a child, but I've never really given much thought as to why I used to be fair.
Yeah, I believe there's a link between spiritualism and sleepwalking. Massively.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. That's my opinion on it. And I do think there is where the body is trying to get what it needs back. And I think soul and spirit working together for once at that point. So hoping that's answering some of your questions, guys. But what are you thinking? Put your comments in, we'll call them out. If you've got a different opinion, please pop it into the chat. Jane, didn't think we actually travelled, but I remember Paul going to the moon.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of a coma, but get what you say about dementia side.
Yeah. Yes.
Coma.
Yes. See, there's another one. That is another one because one of my fears is that I'm actually stuck somewhere and can't get back.
Yeah.
That's my biggest fear. And I can see myself laying there and I'm with it and everybody's looking at me.
Yeah, but
that is scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I remember my granddad when he was in the army. He started his journey into the spirit world, to be fair, and he had to have an operation at some point. I think it was in Egypt, but anyway, they had to put him out, and he said he come out of his body and he was literally stood next to the bed watching them operate on him, and he was listening to the conversations the doctors were having. And when it was all over and he come to, the doctor come in to check on him, and he started asking him questions about the discussion he had while he was operating. And he said the geezer, he freaked out, and he didn't want to be near him. He said, "How the hell did you know that?" He said, "I was standing next to you, watching you doing what you was doing." And
but there is a condition out there, or people being awake during operations, isn't there?
With the anaesthetic, it numbs your body, but you still hear, and not so much see, but you hear everything that's going on, don't you?
Yeah,
but he actually had an out-of-body experience. He literally was standing next to the fella, watching him operate on himself.
And there was a guy in America. I think it was quite a famous story. I'll have to dig it out for when we next have a show. But he was actually someone talking about coma. He was in a coma for about 8 to 10 years, and the family kept saying, "No, you're not turning the life support machine off. You're not doing it. You're not doing it." The doctors saying, "No, we're going to do it. We're going to turn the line," and they kept fighting it. They fought it through courts, and then all of a sudden, he woke up and he was as right as rain, right as rain. So he's obviously in there somewhere, and he said that he could hear him every day.
Yeah,
so he knew they were there, and that's where I do fear that there I am and can't get.
You can hear everything that's coming into your physical body.
He knows them every day.
You can't get back to it.
Is that not a fear born out of fear on the earth plane. For
Don't know.
example, you know, you get locked out your house for a moment in, you know, you've locked your keys, you can't get back in. It's fear. You know, I'm not saying it's, you know, obviously death, you know, not being able to get to somebody is fear. It's grown out of fear. But knowing what we know, and knowing what we do, I know we're all different and we've all got different opinions in life, but that to me would only say to me that I wouldn't fear that. Of course, it would upset me. I don't think I would fear it because in my head I'd be dead. I'd know I'm dead.
But he wasn't dead.
No,
That's what
but
I'm saying. People with dementia are not dead.
But they're not. But in the sense of their physical body isn't dead, but their spiritual body is crossing over to come and talk. For example, talk to me to give a message.
Yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying. But how can they sing songs?
What do you mean?
There's so much of it you're seeing nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden they can, you know, they can't string two sentences together or talk to people or recognise people.
Yeah.
You sing the song, and they can sing you the song.
Yeah.
So
I know.
You know, this is what you know. Is a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
But that
I think
would say-
with the death thing, I do and I don't agree with you, Russ. Like, I know you say you wouldn't be afraid. When I think of death and things like that, I'm not scared of dying.
No.
But I'm scared of not being here for the people I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I could see if that's my fear, if I not necessarily past, but if I was in a coma, if I had dementia and I could still see and hear those people, how frustrated I would be not to be able to answer them and say, like, I'm still here. I'm here.
Yeah.
But perhaps that's the difference between what Sandra was saying there of people being in comas, or I won't say dementia because I'm not quite sure I can fit it to my chain of thought to dementia. But for me, I don't think we would see our body if we was to die, as in die. As if everything stopped, die. There's obviously something there working within that body, i.e., first and foremost, the machine, for example, or there is a fight within the body somewhere that is keeping that alive to go. There has to be something within that body to be alive, because it's not. Look, we know we've all seen films, and we all know, you know, when people die, they can be brought back to, you know, but obviously, you know, there's differences. There's a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. One of them is dead. One of them isn't. Is there? There is a difference between a cardiac arrest and a heart attack. I think a heart attack you can be brought back to, but once you've gone into cardiac arrest, I think there's no bringing you back. The heart's gone. Oh, vice versa. One of the two. I just can't remember it. There has to be something within that body still going. Now, that's leading on to my other, like Lee's question here, soul and spirit. Now, I'm a strong believer that the soul and spirit are two different things working two separate pathways within your body. So, in my opinion, to what you're saying there is that if I'm standing outside of the body, watching me, can't get into that body, there is something there keeping my body alive, or has a want to keep that body alive. So there has to be a detachation. So something must be outside of that body to be watching you as a spirit, or has to be outside of there watching it. Has to be.
Yeah.
Or what is there? So for all intents and purposes of the conversation in my head is the soul is still in the body and your spirit is left. Okay, it's done what it needs to do, and you're looking into your body, knowing you can't get back into it, where the fear is. At what point, at what point, 10 years down the line is very much a wow moment. Wow, wow, wow. Is that just coincidence? Is that, I don't know. It doesn't feel like that, because 10 years is one hell of a long time.
Not in spirit.
And not within spirit. For all intents and purposes, if he was there, the spirit would have absolutely just gone off and had a whale of a time and said, exactly. No, stop that. I don't want to be on this planet for the next 10 years. I'm going to go and enjoy myself.
That's who it was.
So I'm not under the same category as sort of you. Do I fear not being able to get back? Because I think in my head now, I know it's different if I'm over there, don't get me wrong, but I would be dead anyway. I'd be dead.
Yeah.
And that would be the end and all of it. And I would, all intents and purposes, I'd probably end up just doing one, going to experience the next journey on, because I know the process of death. But perhaps the people like yourself and Paul have that motion there. I want to get back. I really want to get back. I fear this. Maybe that determination, that maybe that want for people in a coma, and not to give up their spiritual prowess or their spiritual journey, that has enough to restart that body. Something has to be keeping the brain alive. There has to be a stimulant within the body to keep the brain going. Now, that may just be machine. I don't know. But
apparently they said he was brain dead.
Yeah. And that's but at the end of the day, is how I see it is if someone went in there and pulled the plug off that machine, that would be not for what. Don't take this as a literally what I would do, but if you had two chances at this, okay, you leave him running for how long to see if he ever comes back? Yeah, comes back after 10 years. Now, if you had a time machine, go back at the start of that 10 years, give it a year and pull the plug on the machine, and to see if he come back naturally. See if it was a want, because the machine could have been doing him no favors. That machine could have gone, right, we're going to keep his heart going, we'll keep his brain stimulated. You know what? I'm going to have 10 years of going wherever I fucking well want. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go to the moon. I'm going to go to thing. But it did him no good. Because if they pulled the plug quicker, he might have, if it was destined for him to be back in that body, would it have naturally come back in that body when that machine was turned off? I know we never know the answer.
I don't know,
because that, it's something there, but there has to be something going on inside that body to keep going. Now that may be machine.
Yeah,
it may be machine. It's like no different to sort of what cryogenically frozen, isn't it? Being cryogenically. All these people have got into this.
Yes, what happens there? I mean, it's only your physical body that's
frozen. Yeah.
Are they waiting though? Do they know what?
No one's successfully come out of it yet, have they? No.
How did this question start?
Spirit and soul, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but this is. I think it all links to that same thing. I do think this has a part of astral projection. I think it's the soul and spirit. For me, potentially, I think when we astral project, our spirit leaves our body and leaves our soul behind. When we've got either maybe dementia or Alzheimer's or something to do with your mind, that you lose your mind. Once again, I think the soul is still there, but the spirit is in and out. And I do think, when Simon says about the singing and the songs and all that, I get that. Maybe the sound of, that person singing the first lines of that song is enough to call that spirit back into that body. Maybe that's the tether for them.
Maybe that's the whisper that they recognise.
The whisper. Maybe I've seen it. I'm totally with Simon. I've seen the TikTok videos of the woman, people out of it. Don't know who they are. They sing the first couple of lines. Oh, do you remember this song, Nan? Oh, roll out the barrel. And within the next couple of seconds, the lady's singing along with it. Maybe it's enough to bring them back into the room, so to speak. Pun the phrase, but just to snap them back to get their spirit back into their body. No different to people in comas, or what is in that body that is generally keeping something, not necessarily the heart or the brain active, because we're assuming the machine is, but there has to be something in there working its magic to be allow that spirit to come back in and start again. That's just my take on it. I do think we're all somewhere along the lines of the right. I think there's a massive link between this and what we've been talking about. What's Heidi put? I have heard I visit people when I sleep. People have seen me with them. That is also out of body experience. I am with them because I want to know if they're all right. I think them.
I think of them before I sleep, and it happens. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. And I genuinely believe that's an out of body experience as well. But I say there is a fine line. I do think there's a fine line. But then again, astral projection is that way of going to sort of talk to people. So, mate, I do think there is a massively little fine line between what is going on and what isn't.
Yeah.
So, but hey ho.
And it's as well. I mean, some people can obviously just do it, think and go. Whereas other people they'd have to work hard at it to try and get that experience going. I think I'm one of them that would have to work hard. I haven't got that gift to just close my eyes, think about it, boom, gone.
I think
with practice you would.
Yeah, but I think it would take me a long time to get to that stage.
Yeah, but then
me knowing you, Paul, yours is self-doubt.
Yeah.
You doubt your ability of what you can do. And I think the worst thing that people can do is self-doubt themselves. That's the issue. Not to say it is an issue, but you deal with it not all the time, but people say, oh, I'm not as good as you. Or no, you are. If it's believing in yourself. It's believing in what you can do. And don't judge yourself. I don't answer to man or beast. Do you know what I mean? What comes out my mouth when I do a reading?
I'll try and thrive on that. But sometimes, like with the team, I'm in awe when we go on ghost hunts, and this is why I like doing the camera work, because when you watch how people work, and that's like the highlight. I watch it, and I'm in awe, and I know that I couldn't just flick that switch and pick that up straight away. I have to work hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know I was getting places when we was doing the circle and things like that, but it doesn't come that naturally to me. And it's not self-doubt. It's just But I know what you're saying in that self-doubt side of things. I do. Oh yeah, I'll never get to that stage. But
and to be quite honest, Paul, years ago I would question. I used to question myself terribly, and I wouldn't. I'd have to process things before I put it out. I still do it now. I still do it to this day now, and I will not. I will not put everything out there that I get, because I think, no, it can't be that. It can't be that. But it is.
I used to get that a lot.
Yeah. It's your confidence. It's a confidence thing as well, and it is. Yeah, and it's knowing that it's processing that information. We all process differently, and I will work as Russ says. You'll see the cogs turning, or I'll just go dead quiet, and that can last for 10 minutes.
Let's be fair, Simon. You can't hide when you're working. I could ask every single member of the team, when Simon works, give me a sign, and it's the look of bemusement in your head. It's
but that's processing. Before I put it out there, that's processing it. That really is.
Yeah, but it's not. It is processing, but there's processing, but you still give it. I know Paul could give the message.
Yes, I know.
But Paul, sorry, it's like I'm talking about Paul when Paul's not here. I know Paul's on my screen.
No, you crack on, mate.
I don't mean it like that, but just give it. Yeah. You just, what comes into that head comes out your mouth.
Yeah.
Because that's what you are getting given. Who on this earth plane has the God-given right to tell you that you're wrong when it comes to something that we don't know is if right or wrong?
Yeah.
I can't stand these mediums online that say, "Oh, it has to be born within you." Go sod yourself. Everyone has the ability.
Great.
Everyone has the ability. It is Simon hit the word is confidence. Give with confidence. Yeah, of course we all have, dips in our confidence. That's life. That's absolute life. But they're there to make us come back stronger, more positive. We can't go through life without the hits and bits like that. But give it with confidence. When you walk into a room on a ghost hunt and you feel, oh, I don't want to be in here. Oh, it's nice in here. Oh, something happened in that corner. Don't go and stand in that corner. Something happened over there. Well, you're right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And it is about confidence. When it comes to working with spirit and spirituality, it's about confidence, because the people on the outside, it's the negative things back. People worry too much about what negative is coming back. I don't care. I would sit on here and have all the mediums on here to their light, and I would just look them in the face. I don't believe any of the codswallop that comes out your mouth. That's the truth of it. Because you can't teach me and I can't teach you.
Yeah.
And as I say to my circle that I teach now, is all I do is I give my opinion, how I do it. I open the door, you walk through the door, you go and do it yourself.
Yeah.
Because who am I to tell you if you're wrong or right? There's certain things within the things that I would always try to do. I'm a strong believer you don't do trance on your own. I'm a strong believer you don't do spirit ball on your own. That will always be a strong opinion of mine. I'm quite adamant as well that you tether off when you do astral projection. I'm a quite strong believer, and if you're going to do any spiritual work, you do a cloak of protection.
You ground, yeah. You've got to.
They would be my strongest opinions. If you don't take them on board, you don't have to take them on board. And it comes. All three of you.
Honest, what works for some people will work for some people.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone works in different ways, don't they?
Exactly that.
let's have got all three of you are very developed spiritual paranormal. Do not doubt because you have much to give us. That's exactly that. Sounds like I'm back at our old class at Breton. Listen to the words of wisdom, Paul. Well done, Russ. As well as having the initial confidence, it must surely be about practice, experience to grow. Exactly, it is, Laura. It is, Laura. About that. But it is just about how I will put it to you is once you've had the first communication with spirit, don't doubt it. Because it will only grow naturally. Of course, practice makes perfect. When people do readings and things like that, of course it does. It becomes more fluent. And as the processing, no different to a computer. The older the computer gets, the less it processes because you need to have an updated model. The more you practice, you are making sure.
What you're saying here.
No. It's not about how. It's not about the old of the person. It's about keeping the processor fresh. I could have a Mac from 1998, which is an old version, but I could have the most up-to-date processor within that Mac would make it run fast. Because it's an old model, it's just a matter of keeping it fresh. And it is
constantly updated, constantly working.
Yeah. And it just, yes, we all go through times and things like that, but just if you are interested in spirituality, read, look, make your own opinions on it, because no one can tell you how and shouldn't be doing it. We all have opinions as spiritual mediums. And it's all I'm saying is, like, I don't like the spiritual mediums out there that force their hands and they think they are God's gift. When no, they're not God's gift.
Yeah, there's confidence and there's arrogance, isn't there?
Very much so. I can't stand the mediums out there say, well, no one else can do this because it's not in their family line. I couldn't give a flying toss where it is, mate. I really couldn't. With everybody in this world has the ability to do it. Has it with abundance. But it is that confidence and trust and practice to do it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, my readings, when I do my readings, have only come from trusting ghost hunting spirit. It is. I walk into a room, I get information, I give it. Now, that's only come from working on a ghost hunting side of things. And I've just taken that to the next experience of what I got. How I interpret when I read cards, how I give a message. You know, you sense, you feel, just give it. I don't hesitate to give it. Yeah, I may have to backtrack on my words of what I've given. So, sorry, I've given you the wrong thing there. You know, because my processor up here, like Simon says, hasn't acted quick enough before it's out my mouth. Then the processor kicks in, then I have to take it back and let it come. But it only comes with just working around spirit, walking through Asda's, walking through Tesco's, as Simon says. It can come. Spirit will talk to you at any part of the day.
Yeah.
Doesn't, you know, we set boundaries. Of course we do. We're human. But
I think you've got to set boundaries, because I think if you don't, you're just going to be overloaded with information. You won't be able to switch off. And we've seen what that does to people.
Exactly.
Numerous people. They're trying to take it in all the time. You're never going to do that. You need a safe haven and a stop sign that says, right, my time now.
I'm not having a go at you, Paul, by the way. You was just a catalyst of my rant. It's my rant more than anything, because it's what I want.
No, you was right anyway. I always questioned what I was giving, and then I'd give a message that sounded to me so outlandish that I was getting, and then someone on the circle would take it, and I'd be like, "Oh, blimey!"
Exactly that. There's exactly that point. Is right there.
Mm.
The exact point is there. You know, give it and that's the difference. You as among friends, you can give it. Stick you in a room of 10 total strangers, you wouldn't give it.
No, probably wouldn't.
And that is where the spiritual confidence, and that's what I say, give it. Don't give a flying hoot what they can't take or what, because that's what you are getting given. And that's what I say. I don't trust the recipient. I trust what I'm getting back there. Because the recipient can't take it doesn't mean I'm wrong.
No.
Because I believe in what I'm getting told.
Yeah.
It may just not be the time they need to hear what I'm giving them.
Mm.
And how many times have I give readings, they say, I can't take that. I say, look, simple, I'll leave it with you. 2 weeks later, they come back and say, I'm so sorry, I forgot all about my Aunt Maud that died with no arm and no ear. You know, you give what you get from spirit, not try and work it out. I sort of get what you're saying there, Paul. I give, it's just there. You know, it's just there. And, you know, maybe processors are different. Everyone's got different processors in their heads and how they get the information out. There is nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that's wrong. All I'm saying is what I don't like at that. Everyone has the gift. If you want to call it a gift, I don't believe I've got a gift. People like to say I've got a gift. I don't believe I've got no gift. I just work with spirit. And I know, and how many times have I said this to you, Paul? My life's better for it.
Mm.
I'm not scared of dying. I know what's over the other side. I think there'll be more lessons to learn from the other side, be hopefully more answers over the other side. Maybe not, but who knows? Yeah. And knowing what we know, because you don't see this physical being anymore, doesn't mean we're not there. Our loved ones still walk by the side of us. Our loved ones still sit in the chair every night that they've sat in for the last 50 years. Because we can't physically see them, doesn't mean they're not there.
No, I totally agree.
The ones that we've lost are still with you. The ones that you have lost, you can still have your full-blown conversations with. Absolutely. Because they listen and they reply to you. Because we don't see them, doesn't mean they're not there. That's the harsh reality of life, isn't it? That's the thing. We think we lose people when we die because we don't see them. We are lucky because we work with this realm that we don't have that. We can still physically see them. Okay, it's nice to pick up the phone, but I know that guarantee Simon, every time West Ham loses, he hears in his head, told you. Am I wrong?
No, you're not right. I wait for the phone to go. I still wait for that phone to go.
But then you'll hit, even though that phone doesn't go, doesn't go, it comes in here.
Oh, God, yeah.
So that in itself is the sign that everybody just needs. Believe in yourself. Go forward. I think we could end it on that note, to be fair. Anything, Paul, have you got any more to say on anything?
No, you summed it up lovely, mate.
Simon?
No, it was a great starting point. And I'm, glad to be back.
That's it. Exactly, Russ. What a joy to see all three of you on here again. What a great evening from Heidi.
Thank you, Heidi.
So this will be happening every other week. So get your questions in. Get your questions into us, because we will. Simon will write them down, because he does do this sort of thing.
Thank you.
Good, Simon. Send them to Simon. All right. He'll make a note of them, and then we can talk about them, because it gives us a starting block. there's going to be times where we come on here and talk about what events we've done and what events we've got coming, because that's what we do, you know. But there's always something different we can talk about. It's the paranormal.
Yeah, there's loads of it out there. There's absolutely loads of it out there.
So all that's left for me to say is good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Stay safe, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for everybody that has joined us over on YouTube, the Journey page, and on Facebook. We very much appreciate it. Thank you once again for all your comments. It's lovely to see old faces on there. It's lovely to see new faces on there as well. So, yeah, absolutely lovely. Take care, and we'll see you all in a couple of weeks' time.
Bye-bye.
Paul is off to Fort Widley. We stayed at Fort Widley, didn't we?
Is that the one where it was the concrete floor? The tunnel?
Yeah, we stayed there, didn't we, overnight?
We did, yes. Yeah.
Fort Widley.
Yeah. It's a tunnel, isn't it? It's a big tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite good.
I'm sure we stayed there, yeah. Have a good night. Have a good night, Paul.
Yeah,
Let us know.
Night,
Night.
Jay.
Bye, Jane.
Take care, everybody. See you soon.
Bye-bye.